sorry, for that one person excited to see animals right side, that is no copy. Like, sort of make it look like a zebra, though they're not related. They're relative of the giraffe family. Not discovered by the Western world until about 1901. Until then, that okapi was believed to be a myth. Watering holes like this one in front of us, important gathering places in the forest. Usually one of our best chances to see some of the more rare species, like the black rhino. Though black rhinos, they've been poached nearly to extinction. Hundreds of thousands have been killed for their horns. Only estimated to be about 5,000 of those powerful animals left in the world. Very sad if you ask me. They are incredible animals to watch, especially when you can find them. There's one giving me a tail view out on the left, which is all the way in the back. Letting it into that rock wall. Oh, whoa, this one's closer. Left side laying down. Amazing animal. Incredibly massive. Weighs at about 3,000 pounds. Believe it or not, even for that size, safer quick, can go about 35 miles per hour. Top seat. Hey, folks in the middle of the truck, she needs to be seated, please. Guys, please make sure those kids stay seated. Thank you so much. The right side up on the hill, reddish orange animals called bongos. Very special creatures, bongos, because you're seeing them. You can now tell people you've seen a ghost. You get a picture of the bongo, you can prove it. Bongos are so rarely seen, they are known as the ghost. Now, one thing you're probably going to end up noticing if you haven't already, we're not really stopping for every animal you see. Unfortunately, the reserve just doesn't allow it. It won't be for that long. But again, folks, you want those great pictures. Cameras up and ready. Walking around. Hopefully we'll be able to get some great views. Hopefully you'll get some great photos today. Now we're going to go up over this hill and back down through the Southie River. Usually a great place to try to look for some hippos, as they are known to be in that area. Hippo is one of the largest animals in Africa. Hippo calf when born can weigh about 85 pounds, and at full grown, they tip the scales at well over 5,000 pounds. Even though they're so big, they're considered great swimmers. They can reach a riverbed like these two on the right. They will walk along. You don't see those on the right, folks? Do not worry. There's a different part of the river on the left. It's usually a better view and a better angle on the left side. Anyways, hang tight, and we're going to see what we can find out here. Well, we found birds, lots of them. Great white birds called pink-back pelicans. The color back turns during breeding season, so not always a pink color will be found on them. Oh, and swimming, a shadow in the water. And there really is a shadow in the water. And then another one looks like a rock by that first island. They do typically stay in the water during the day. They'll come up at night to feed, or they can eat up to 150 pounds of vegetation every single night. They've been known to travel up to 6 miles a night in search of food. They're typically not more than 2 miles away from the river. All are herbivores. They'll eat plant life like bushes, grasses, different things like that. As we go over this old bridge, take a very cautious look down. Not only is it a long way down, those are knives. Crocodiles. Hey, folks, have a seat. Those are very real, very wild, very dangerous animals. Kids need to be seated as well. That darling in the blue needs to be seated on your lap, Mom. Thank you. Yes, you. Please have her seated. Those animals run about 10 miles per hour. Their jaw closing pressure is 2,000 pounds per square inch. They also get quite big, up to about 20 feet long. Now we're going to exit out a little military forest and enter into the open savanna. You'll see a completely different ecosystem, different animals, and different trees. There's something very different up in front of us called a baobab, also known as an upside-down tree, because it looks like it has its roots sticking right up in the air. Now, these trees live thousands of years, and they are incredibly resilient. They have survived long periods of drought by holding water in their trunks and going months out of the year. And this is one of my favorite views of the entire reserve. These are the Serengeti grasslands. Split for hundreds of miles across East Africa, acts as a super for highway to millions of migrating animals each year. So some of our favorite animals, like giraffes, elephants, and lions. All the animals in the savannah, no matter the size, they do help maintain this landscape. For example, elephants act as bulldozers, pushing down those trees to eat them. The giraffes act as predictions, trimming up the bottoms of the trees. Antelopes mow down the grasses, the gazelles and warthogs trim up the edges. In a balanced ecosystem, there's enough food around here for everyone. And that's a very good thing. Especially when you take a look at the beautiful land, you have a beautiful area, and consider this is the Wanaka. We're all working so hard to help and serve this area, and all the animals will hopefully find that. Along this road, mounds of earth, these tall cliffs of earth, they are all termite mounds. They can be as hard as concrete. Elephants love to use them as scratching posts, so once they get worn down, antelopes use them as lookout posts of the tall grass out here in the savannah. Antelopes like these coming up on the left, some sable antelopes, a symbol of the entire reserve. A lighter brown, either younger male or female. Males as mature tend to get a very dark chunk of brown coloring. Most dominant male would be the reason they're called a sable antelope. Get a sable black color. Hey folks, about the third row back, she needs to be seated. Please and thank you. Siéntate, por favor, have a seat. Folks, please make sure those kids stay seated. It's very dangerous to hold them up at all. Thank you. I do think we're still heading the right direction. I saw some movement going on off in the distance. Hopefully once we get around this big corner, should be able to see a few different animals roaming around. Coming up on the right side, some silver gray animals. Those are wildebeests, the very tall animals. Giraffes. They're both just around the corner there. Wildebeests known to have one of the largest animal migrations in the entire world. That's definitely a smaller herd to the right. Their migration is where they get their name. In Afrikaans, it means wild beast, because when they migrate through an area, it looks like one wild beast moving through that area. Wildebeests can also go by a different name. Or GNU, it's from the grunting sound they make. Those giraffes, if they're really big creatures, stand about 18 to 20 feet tall. Even though they all have long necks, giraffes only have 7 vertebrae in the neck. Just like humans, those are just quite a bit bigger. Something else bigger on that animal you won't see here today? A heart. Full-grown giraffe's heart can be 2 feet long and weigh about 25 pounds. One of their favorite things to do throughout the day, you're about to see it. It's eating. They eat anywhere from 16 to 20 hours every single day. That's about 75 pounds of food every single day for this animal. They do eat quite a bit. They have been known to go for weeks without drinking if necessary, as long as they have that food source available. Now, also just right outside, a little bit closer, a lighter brown antelope called Patterson's eland. Eland's considered one of the largest of our antelopes. Males weigh about 2,000 pounds and stand 6 feet at her shoulder. But as big as she is, I want you to try to imagine something. Imagine her jumping 6 to 8 feet straight in the air. Elands have been known to do that before. Another animal coming up on the right, this one with large white horns called Nankoli cattle. Those horns will get up to about 6 feet long and about 20 inches in circumference at the base of them. There's one moving just past the ridge, and then there's one in the trees where the group of giraffes is. As big as those horns are, they are not as heavy to animals they look to us. Honeycomb pattern in there, allowing the animal that blood vessels run through the horns. They then use to regulate their body temperatures. Oh, and Nankoli, you may also know them by a different name. Watusi, it's a tribe that first domesticated back in Africa. The only domesticated animal you'll find anywhere on this reserve. Now this area called Monkey Point, named for the troop of mandrills known to be in the area. They tend to hide in the trees and up in the rocks. Now you really wouldn't think animals like the mandrills would be so hard to spot, as the males make them one of the trees. You can barely see them though. The one on the rocks is giving a tail view. This one past the trees is just hiding all the way in there. And from here, we're going to try to get to elephant country, though we have gotten very sad news from the reserve about the elephants. One of their greatest threats are humans. Poachers target them for their tusks, which are made of ivory. Also, as elephants face habitat loss, those powerful creatures and humans are sharing more of the same areas. It's very dangerous for both of us. But the more we learn about an elephant, the better prepared we'll be to help them. For example, our scientists here, they study elephant communication, see how they interact, and what that animal will specifically need to survive. A very old bridge here, but no worries. We'll go poly-poly over it, meaning very slowly. It is slightly noisy. It gets noisier throughout the years, but it'll be just fine. A truck in front of us went over with no problem. And with that, we're going to head to elephant country. See, maybe we catch up to a herd. If you see an adult off on their own, that's most likely a bull or male. They tend to be loners. You see a group? Most likely females and young ones. They like to stick together in very tight social herds. Oh, wonderful to see left and right side. There's tusk marks and footprints. Great indicators to look for when you are looking for herds of elephants. They do eat small portions of that clay to be able to get the beneficial minerals out of it. One moving out over the left side, just over the bridge. We should be able to get closer to maybe a few more. See some more movement going on around the corner here. One thing scientists have learned about these animals, as big as they are, those elephants are afraid of bees. They will run from them. They started introducing this to the farmers in Africa who were trying to protect their crops, making almost like a fence out of the hives. Protects crops, protects farmers, and in turn protects the wonderful elephant. Some kind of static coming in. Maybe get close to a village if we're going to get a radio station. Listen to that. If we keep it out here, well, it's not long as we keep it anyway. Alright, folks, there's one just in that front corner, but there's also one just over the rocks here, left side. She's just about to turn. There was one up here, but I think it's going to be more in the trees. Oh, whoa. About 3 of them playing in the water. How cute is that? What you're not seeing, you're just about to see a third one was under there. They're being pushed out by the 2. Aww. Also on this left side, these are greater flamingo. A lightest pink coloring of all flamingo species found on them. They're born, they're not that color at all. It'll be gray, and then they'll get the pink coloring over their lifetime from the brine shrimp that they eat. Now this a relatively small group. Groups of flamingos can get above 20,000 pairs. No matter the size group, they do have a name for it. It's called the flamboyance of flamingo. I did get word that we just might see white rhino activity on the reserve today. And it looks like the place they've been talking about, something's been rolling that mud, knocking out those trees out there. A great effort does go in protecting animals like white rhino, though poachers ruthless, well financed. They'll target them on Africa's largest and most well-known reserves to date. Both the black and the white rhino, they are targeted solely for their horns, as some cultures do believe those horns have medicinal value. Says they've proven there is no medicinal value at all. In fact, the horns on the rhino made from the same thing your nails and your hair are made of. Oh, whoa. Wow, left side, that's a cheetah. Yeah, very front. Pile of spots there. Considered one of the fastest of all land animals, runs up to about 60 miles per hour over short distances. Typically, they are daytime hunters. Unlike most large cats, cheetahs rely on their sight for hunting, rather than their sense of smell. Another pile of spots out there on the left. Actually, two of them, like head to tail there. I have a hard time seeing them. Definitely not the only one. Cheetahs have the spots. Great camouflage out here. These rocks, GOPR rocks, large on the rock that jut out of a savanna. Usually a great place to look for large cats. Use them as lookout points and just places in general to lay around. Some of the large cats that like to hang out up here, lions, but they can be inactive quite a bit during the day. About 18 to 20 hours every single day of the lion's life will be spent inactive. For elephants, farmers need to protect crops. For large cats like the cheetahs or the lion, they'll need to protect livestock. Cheetahs, they use something like a large dog. Anatolian shepherds are Kangal dogs. Protects livestock, scares off the cheetah. The lions, they use something pretty cool called a living wall. Right side, those dark brown animals called bontebok. In the very back, zebra, and then the rocks are white rhino. Moving rocks back here, the white rhino. Yeah, no, they're not really white. Name doesn't come from that color. It comes from Afrikaans word white, meaning wide, because they have a broad square mouth. It's a major difference between black white rhino, broad mouth all the way, white rhino. These burrows, warthog burrows, don't think about their snap like going tusk out, so there's protection from predators. Two little warthogs out here on the left. They look like piles of dirt and hay. Look where this last burrow is straight out in line. They're laying underneath the tree. Pretty impressive little animals.